Everybody thinks artificial intelligence is the new advantage when it's actually not. The reality is authentic intelligence is the force multiplier and what's going to give you an advantage in a competitive commercial situation. Artificial intelligence is in and of the zeitgeist. We're all becoming acclimated to it. And it is, I think, a very significant shift and step change that's going to have deep implications for society, economies, and obviously how we work. As we've gone further down this path, both in our own practice, running a thought leadership and professional services firm, what we've found, it's really the real competitive advantage and opportunity to provide real differentiation and defensible ideas that are real, have real-time relevance and application for a customer, and that aren't context thin and aren't germane and generic, comes from something we're calling authentic intelligence. It's not artificial. It's not artificial at all. It's the integration of generative artificial intelligence with an organization's IP, experience, case studies, customer perspective, and layering into that human discernment that applies to the nuances of that unique selling situation. And so as I've sat through the last 6 months of spending time with customers and understanding how the world is thinking about it, talking about it, using it, and getting, real-time access to application in these rooms, there's a disparate range, right? Some people are getting their people on ChatGPT for the first time, and others are launching agents across their workforce to take on components of the workload. And I think it's. I just saw this in The Economist. Humans are more frightened about the implications of AI than they are excited about the application of AI. What clients are hungry for from their vendor partners isn't more information, it's authentic intelligence. Artificial intelligence is not a step change. It's not. And even if you have some little first mover advantage in your category, okay, you're a little more sophisticated, you rolled out an, okay. But missing all of that nuance and context. And so that's where I said, generative AI is this, human discernment is this. Artificial intelligence is research and data aggregation, synthesis and context, automation for efficiency. Spot on. It can do things we can't do much faster. Get it. Human discernment in a commercial application is still required. Strategy, judgment, creativity, storytelling, sense making for the customer. You have all of this information. You can't make sense of it. You're stuck. You're overwhelmed. The paradox of choice. All these things that customers deal with, and truly, that strategic partnership will be driven by the human. It is the intersection of these two things that create authentic intelligence. Artificial intelligence alone is going to be a commodity. We've all benefited from it. I have. It's challenged my thinking, made me smarter, made me faster. But that isn't an enduring and sustainable competitive advantage. When everybody has access to that, it isn't. And you see that happening now, particularly with content. And there's so much coming out. It's a volume accelerator, not a value accelerator. Value gets accelerated when it's applied to a particular situation. And by the way, we are not the arbiter of value, the customer is. And so without that layer of context and insight, and without your unique perspective in positioning, it's rote. It's just simply outsourced thinking. It's answering questions. And ultimately, over time, the point of view becomes commoditized. To create differentiation, it's the integration of these things. But I think there's, particularly for the function where I apply my expertise, there is a much more strategic application of this technology. When it's done well, it is one of the most noble and altruistic things you can do for another person. It is the act of service. You are in somebody's problem with them, as their partner with them. And who doesn't want to be seen and supported and cared about when they're stuck, when they're struggling? That's what we do. But to get people to say, well, I have to make this many calls to get this many, like that's sort of a lot of people are still stuck in that orientation. And this further bifurcates it. This further differentiates it. Your job isn't to sell more. It's to help more people make the right decision. You're a professional mind-maker. Over time, you're a professional problem solver. It's just sort of like, when you are doing your job, what are you thinking about? What is it that you're actually doing? Salespeople help customers make better decisions. And this is a step change in your ability to execute that job.